and welcome to today's episode of the Created to Write show. Today, I have the lovely Karen Roper with me. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me. It's a real privilege to be on.
Oh my, it is such a pleasure to have you on my show. Now, for those who don't know you yet, please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi. I am um, passionate about seeing people live their lives the way that God intended for them to live. So, God asked me to start a blog back in January of 2015, which I've been writing weekly since. And then he asked me in that same year to actually do a book. So I am an author of two non-Christian fiction books. I'm a blogger, and I have just started podcasting my blogs onto Spotify and Apple, which is really interesting. So other than that, I'm a mum, I'm a wife, I'm a stepmom, I'm a step grandma, and I love my family. It's big and it's really good. And my passion is really just organizing and decluttering and just loving that sort of
Oh, do you want my
and
address?
just being in my house is just lovely.
Oh, I think I need your
I'm a true
services.
introvert.
You're an introvert.
Yeah, I'm a true introvert.
Could you come to my house and be an introvert and declutter for me?
Yeah,
Let's talk after the
yeah.
show. And back to where we were at.
Okay, great.
So you mentioned you have two books,
Yes, I do.
and so who do you write for, or what genre are they?
Yeah, so I write for people who want to be Christians or looking for Christian writings, or people who just want to expand their walk with God by showing them how to live the life God intended for them to live. Because I think it's really important, because sometimes as Christians we get stuck with knowing where to go and am I doing the right thing? And I'm facing this battle, and is this God or is this me? Or have I done something wrong? So I like making sure that people know that they can live the way that God intended for them to live in abundance, and actually facing the trials that we face and being able to come through them. So that's what all of my writing is really around, is
Awesome.
really helping people,
Helping others. That's
helping
lovely.
others with their Christian journey, and even, people that want to know what Christianity is all about and
Hmm.
how they can actually live their lives that way. They might
What it
want,
actually looks like. Yeah.
yeah, what it actually looks like. Yeah,
Yeah. Because it's not just everything that some people think it is. It's quite
no,
different to walk a Christian walk.
that's right. It is. Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
have you
really,
had to overcome any lies since you've been writing?
oh my gosh, have I what? My biggest lie is I'm not good enough to be a writer, and I don't have the skills and abilities. And it was really founded um, in my workplace, really, because writing is my weakest skill in my workplace. And so, when God asked me to write, I'm going, but that's my weakest skill. And he goes, yes. And that's when I get the glory, because it's actually in what we can't do sometimes that God really moves through us and through others, and encourages others to actually, if that's what's on their heart, to actually pursue what they need to pursue. So I really just had to trust that God was in it. And another lie I told myself was, who's going to read my books? Who's going to read my blog? Who's going to do this? What am I doing? I just don't feel qualified. And so I really had to trust that God was really in it, and that God had actually called me to do it, because for 7 years of writing, I had no support. So no one believed I could do it except God. And
Wow.
that was a real lonely time, but it really cemented the calling in me. So yeah, so writing's not my passion, it's actually my calling. So do you want me to expand on that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yes, I'd love you
Yeah.
to.
So sometimes when we've got a passion for something, we just want to do it all the time. And writing is my calling because it's not something that I have to actually push myself to write in a way. So I'm a different sort of writer, and God has called me to do it. And so I find it difficult sometimes, but that's when I have to learn to trust that God will give me the words to write and just totally rely on Him and totally rely on the grace that He has for me and over my life. Yeah, because it hasn't been my passion since I was a child. Although in saying that, I did have a dream one day that I was going to write a book. So God births those dreams in our hearts sometimes, and we don't even know why.
Yeah, wow. Very cool. Yes. We lean on the Lord to overcome.
We do. We have to in every aspect of our lives, but this is a really good one too.
Yeah. And after you've overcome the lies, what's the best thing about being a writer?
Oh, the best thing is the beautiful community of people. It really is like knowing that you're not alone on the journey, like and becoming involved in a beautiful community of writers is really the most amazing thing for me. So when we get together, like at conferences, or even if you just meet someone, or we just do a little thing or whatever, or a retreat or something, it's like a little bit of heaven on earth, I say, because none of us, we're all Christians, but none of us ask which church we go to. None of us do anything like that. It's just like heaven. Like there'll be no denominations, no anything, and we're just all there with a passion and a calling to write and to actually do, to actually encourage each other. And it's just so beautiful. Like I just really love the writing community. And I think that's the best thing about being a writer is the community. So
I
yeah, and being
agree.
interested in each other, encouraging each other and spurring each other on in our journey. I think that's really important too, because all of us are on a different journey. And I love that God has called us all uniquely and individually as a writer. So we all write different things. None of us writes like a robot of the other person. We all just write different things and we can just spur each other on with what we've been tasked to do, really.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
and I just love it. That's the
Yes,
best part.
it is. It is. I absolutely love when we get together too. And that's unusual because you just said you're happy to be an introvert, yet you love when we get together.
I do, because I think even introverts need encouraging sometimes, and we
Yes.
need to be pulled out of our shells. And we need to know that there's others that are introverts like us. So all the little introverts get together every so often, not too often, or that would be not good. Um, but yeah, just to encourage people, because I think everybody needs encouragement in their
Yes.
journey.
And you mentioned another thing that I thought about because we were recently at the Brisbane showcase together.
Mm, we
And
were.
a few days after, I thought, oh, it's interesting. I have no idea what style of church any of them go to. There's a few that I do
No,
know, but it just doesn't come up. It's not,
no,
we're just all Christians. We just
that's it.
love Jesus, write for the
Yeah,
Lord, and hang out
yeah,
together and talk about
that's
writing.
it. That's it. And it feels like a little bit of heaven because that's what's going to be
Yeah.
like, isn't it? We're all
Yeah. It
just going to
doesn't,
be worshiping God and no one's going to care
the other stuff doesn't
where
matter.
everyone came from. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And I just love it. It's just, it really has cemented that really deep in my heart that it's
Mm.
just amazing.
Yeah. So good. So good. And what's been a highlight so far in your author journey?
I think my highlight will be and will always be ever be holding my first published book. I think it's a bit like birthing a baby writing. You
It
go through
is.
all these labor pains and you go through all of this. Will it work? Won't it work? Is this good? Isn't it not good? You go through all the editing and all of those processes. And finally, you wait and wait and wait. And finally, this thing comes to your front door in a box and you pick it out and you hold it and you just go, oh, this is so amazing. Um, so yeah, so, and the sense of accomplishment and wonder that comes at that time is a real highlight, I think, of my author journey because I don't think I'll get over that feeling ever of holding something that I've written in my own hands.
Yeah. It
And
is
I
very
just,
special.
It is, and every book's the same. Like I've written two books now, and they're all the same. And it's just, I know the process now, but it's just birthing that next book and just
Yeah.
holding the end result in your hands is
Yes.
just so.
So I've got five books and four that are in print. And the fourth book, yes, absolutely. I was just as excited opening that box as I was with the first.
Yeah. Yeah, you do, because it's just a different journey. It's like having two kids or five kids or six. Some people got 60 kids, because they got lots of books. But it's just, and they're all different and they're all unique, and it's just beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So, Karen, tell us, what are you working on right now?
So I'm working on a book called Daughters of the King. So I better explain my first two books, I guess. Can I do that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So my first book was called From Egypt to the Promised Land, and it is all about the Christian journey. And we follow the Israelites from Egypt to the Promised Land. And I opened my Bible in Exodus for this one and closed it in Joshua. And God just revealed so much through those chapters. And so I write about like our Christian journey, like salvation and baptism and all of those things. And then we get into the battles that they faced, the battle of honor, of leadership, of lust over different things, and all of those type of things. So that book is really helping people with their walk with God. And then I wrote a book called From the Prison to the Palace. And this one followed the life story of Joseph in the Old Testament. And I had a lot of poetic license, I guess, in this book because it was a book of emotional healing. And the Bible doesn't really talk much in stories sometimes about emotions and how people feel and think and all of that type of stuff. We see it in the Psalms and things like that, but we don't often see it in the stories. And so I had to use a bit of poetic license, like where did Joseph come from and all of this. So I wrote on his story, but I wrote around how to heal from rejection, how to actually forgive, how to actually heal from some of those insecurity issues, from a biblical point of view. So it's really a book of emotional healing using his story as a backdrop. And then my last chapter in that book is all around legacy and what legacy do we actually want to actually push to the next generation of what we do. So,
Yes, because a legacy doesn't just mean finances or stuff. Well, it
no,
doesn't mean that at all, really.
no. And in Joseph, it was really interesting because he said, I know God's going to deliver you from Egypt and give you a promised land. Please take me with you, literally. And he spoke that 400 years or so, or, a couple of hundred years before that ever came to pass. So when the Israelites ended up leaving Egypt, they actually took him with them because he didn't want to stay there. So yeah, that's his legacy. Like he told them that they would leave that place. So through all of the burdens and things that they suffered in Egypt after he died, you know, he had left them that legacy, but they forgot. And sometimes I think that's what we do. So that was what that chapter was all about.
Yeah.
Yep. So what am I working on now? I'm working on my third book called Daughters of the King. It is a different book because I wanted to do a non-fiction book on this as well, but God told me that his daughters learn in stories. So when you think many, many years ago, women used to sit around little campfires or whatever they did, and they used to talk about their day and ask about this and my child's sick with that and how do I fix this? And everything was by story. And God told me to write a book of story for his daughters. So I'm writing, it's a fiction book. It's not actually Christian fiction stories, but it's a fiction book based on the women in the Bible. And then I've made a fiction story about them in our time using some imaginary islands and all sorts of things. And then with a reflection piece at the end of each chapter about what that particular woman teaches us about how to be a daughter of God.
Mm,
So I've written three chapters now, or the first three stories. So we'll see how we go with it. But
that's
it's,
exciting. How fast are
yeah,
you at writing? Do you have a projection, a time when you'd like to have it done by?
I'd like this one done by the end of the year. Um, yeah, I've been a bit slow in writing. So my first book was released in 2022. The next one was 2024. This will not be released in 2026 because I've had some things happen in my life that's just pulled me back a little bit. But yeah, so I'm very excited to continue writing it. But I've had to trust God more with this one because He needs to give me the story of each woman and the fiction story of each woman because they don't interact with each other. It's separate little stories, but based on the same, in the same two islands.
Cool. That sounds like
Yes,
fun. It actually sounds like fun to write. I'm sure it's going to be
it
fun to
is.
read.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, especially with what God's given me through it. I'm just going, oh my gosh, and then trying to work out the stories of the women in the Bible and working out, like for example, Hagar, and how do you pull that into a modern context? And so, yeah, I struggled with that for a while. And then some wise lady told me how to do it. So I just went, okay, I'll do it that way. That sounds great.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yeah. So it's really hard to pull some of those stories in our own, from that culture into our own culture.
Yes,
So,
I
yeah.
agree. When I see how people do write fiction based on the Bible, I'm just like, you're brilliant.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're doing it with God.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Oh, yes, wonderful. Anyone who's still watching, please hit that like and subscribe. Go follow Karen online. Go buy her books. They will be great to have on your bookshelf and in your mind after you've read them. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on the show today, Karen.
That's all right. Thank you very much for having me. I've really enjoyed my time with you.
Wonderful. And everyone, really appreciate you hanging around to the end. Remember, you were created to create, and perhaps you were created to write. Until the next time, we'll see you again soon.